everything's been so far on a pretty hype train. Like they have the all the lore building and just complete and total like build up in Black Clover, My Hero Academia had Tamora, like, conquering over the Liberation Army, and now Chainsaw Man. I'm always hyped at this series. One of the reasons is because the author, as I've said so many times, he's so unpredictable in what he does. Like there's no shonen like kind of like formula he follows. It's kind of like goes at such a random pace while still fitting the story. I love it. So in this chapter, it starts out. We actually got a name for the guy that was training. He trained Makima, and then he just trained Power and Denji. I don't think he had a name prior to this one. Like I looked for it in previous chapters, couldn't find it. Kishite, but he's talking to this guy from the East and this guy from another division of Devil Hunters, and he's pretty much like explaining what's going on. And it's not really the thing is they sent all the special division, the fourth division of the Devil Hunters inside the building to take on this terrorist group. And he's talking to him about like, hey, you guys are not here to pretty much you can do something in case any of these terrorists escape and try and run, but for the most part, you guys are pretty much going to be keeping an eye on the possibility of one of the people we send in, try and do something funny because they're pretty much all non-humans. And I'm very curious about like that statement. Like I knew about going in because there's different types. They have straight devils, which they don't seem to really roam free, but it seems like some of them, they can figure out a way to get on their side. There are fiends who are devils that take over human bodies. They become more intelligent and they have more human characteristics. But obviously, we have Denji and the Yakuza dude kind of like version, where instead they're humans that take devil powers and they seem to become immortal. At least so far, they have this mask kind of style to them, and this, at least we've seen triple blades, triple weapons coming out of each hand and then forehead. I'm wondering if that's going to be just the layout of them all. They're all going to have that characteristic. But he's like talking about, and this was hype as hell because then we found out like stuff not just about the fourth division, but we got a lot of questions about these other characters within them because I'm wondering if because he goes like they're like the something devil man. And I'm wondering if that's like again like fiends or if they're supposed to be similar to what Denji is. They don't have that triple limb thing, but calling them man at the end, like kind of similar Chainsaw Man. I just feel like it, just makes sense with them calling it Devil Man. And at the same time, like I said, it gives the question for what are we gonna do about this comparison of characters? Is it gonna be a fiend and it's just like maybe a higher level, or are these other kind of Devil Man characters like people just call it Devil Man for what Denji and the Yakuza do is? Because as far as we know, they could be species, they might be rare, they might be special in anything beyond like the creation. Like it might not just be like as easy. Yeah, you absorb a devil or whatnot. There's a lot of questions in that, but all in all, they're really cool. What's funny is the people so far that have gotten into Chainsaw Man that I've known for a long time, the close friends. I know a lot of the things that kind of like can get their attention, and almost every single one of these new characters is something like one of my friends. She's super into sharks. She showed her a shark in a series. One of my friends is super into like beaches, them pretty boys. He just likes the beauty of them. We had that. One of my friends is into plague doctors and masks. So we had a plague doctor mask character, and then we had a spider monster character. Like every single one of them was like a checkbox for stuff that I could like show off to my friends and catch attention, which I thought was great. But we have the Shark Devil Man, and he can like pretty much go through walls. He becomes tangible, which is really cool because we're probably gonna get to see like just those scenes where you just see the fin like in the ground, and then he just kind of comes up. He's pretty much a land shark, but to a higher level, and he can turn into a shark for a short period of time. I wonder if it's just his head, or if he can turn into the full version of his previous form, like the Shark Devil when he was, which is really cool because like as we know the devils are formed from fear and depending on like how people fear them like a level of their strength like But like these are like all like pretty straight on like things we know. The shark, you know, a lot of people are afraid of sharks, which is unfortunate. Sharks don't actually like taste bad. And when he goes to try and bite a dude, he gets hit in the neck. And this is a guy, the Devil Man of Violence, which is really cool because that's one of those more kind of like not animalistic ones, but it's more of the concept and the idea. Obviously, people are afraid of violence, and this dude, not only is he apparently really powerful because they talk about how devil men are weaker than usually when they were devils, but this guy was still too strong, so they have this mask on, constantly putting poison into his body. That's why it's. I'm wondering if that's why it's supposed to be plague doctor shaped because that was like the thing with plague doctors. They had like some stuff at the end of their mask, hell, because they're always dealing with like sick and dying people. At least that's what I remember. If it's something different, tell me. But like, I think that's if so, kind of funny how normally it's no, but this one is like instead they're giving it, forcing like the poison and sickness on this dude, and this guy just screams like the rivalry, kind of like not like straight rival like Aki. Aki kind of feels like listen, fairy tale. A lot of people on the channel know how much I like it. But Aki's kind of like more like gray, but I feel like this Devil Made of Violence dude is gonna be like Godzilla. He's just gonna be that raw like big opponent, kind of like ally, sort of for the main character. I really want to see this dude fight more because like his is just not like oh I have like this I have an animal or a whatever whatever. It's violent, so he's probably just gonna be like this dude. The longer he fights, the more powerful and brutal he gets. And it looks like everything he's gonna do is gonna be savage. Like the first thing we see him do is kick off a zombie's head. That was pretty sick. And then I'm pulling over to this nice girl who is a spider devil, and arachnophobia, I think, is one of the most common fears. So I feel like this should be he should be one of the most powerful devils. I guess it depends if their world might be different. I think arachnophobia is like the most common fear in the world. I'm not too sure. I'd have to look it up, but still pretty crazy. Largest phobia. And she's just going crazy, like skewering all these zombies with her big, like pointed legs. And then we have an angel devil who very weird because like this one I kind of caught me up because like obviously there are people religion, the afterlife, what happens when you die, kind of like so this is also like a weird concept one sort of the devil man of violence, and this one isn't aggressive towards humans, but I guess if it touches you, he can like absorb your lifespan. Very curious that the way they would have like a devil. Like I'm very curious about this one's backstory. I imagine with the other three or any of the other devils or devil men that they have, devil hunters, it was like some form of battle or maybe convincing them in order to come to their side. But this guy apparently just doesn't like he's not aggressive towards humans. So I'm wondering if like this devil man approached the devil hunters, wanted to help them. But then we have the last guy in there shown at least so far, Aki, who's got out his nail, big nail sword. Actually, it looks more like one of this time. I don't know if that was just maybe some of the panel, but I'm wondering if he can actually use its power with the curse devil on and off. Like obviously, like if he's using it now, it'd be taking more life out of him. There's also the possibility maybe with the angel devil, maybe the angel devil can give him lifespan back. Maybe that's a power that will happen, or maybe like there's still the possibility. At least for me, I'm hoping that he ends up becoming like a hybrid devil person, like Denji or the Yakuza dude. I want him to live so bad because the thing about Chainsaw Man so far is all the characters have something pretty cool, interesting about them. Like Denji already has some stuff about questioning his humanity. He gained the character trait like he doesn't like to be in debt to people because we know about his backstory, dad having huge, and that pretty much childhood power. The power is for one, she's. I don't think there's any other like shonen main female lead like her, but she obviously is like she has like an insecurities about her intelligence. Makima is just Makima in so many ways, but Aki already has like a lot of depth to him, which I really like. He's definitely so far the deepest written character. Even last chapter, that color page where it's like him on like a gray, like almost dead looking beat. He's just wearing a white shirt with like these dead hands around him, form like a bloody tie. Just said so much about him and his character, which I really loved. But in this, we see him talking to like the devil, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to get blood on me." He's pretty clean and polite. And actually, like when the dude pops out with a gun, like the angel devil can just block bullets with wings, which is impressive. Like for real, his apparent feathers are durable enough that bullets aren't anything to him. He has ow, but there's no real sign of damage. That just tells me that this dude's feathers are probably, he can probably do that thing where, you know, when you characters that have like, oh, I have big wings, like how do I tackle them? You can probably like throw them pretty much like kunai, and they can. That's just one of those like standards for like winged characters. I've always really liked hoping. Then we get it. We see Aki as he's going up for his match because we know the two matches for sure happening. We got Denji versus the dude, and I keep forgetting her name. Sawatara, girl. Obviously, Aki's got beef with her, killed Meno, and she actually shows a power that she has, and it looks like a special trait about the Snake Devil is when she calls the Snake Devil, asks it to release, she ends up summoning the Ghost Devil, that being the one that contracted with Meno, and that just makes me wonder if the Snake Devil eats another, is it able to then summon it? Like, is it able to kind of like use it only once? Is it able to just kind of replicate it? Is it just become part of her power set, which would be really cool? And I'm very intrigued to see how that goes. And obviously, what we're going to get in the next portion, the next chapter, is seeing exactly what Aki's going to be like with the devil. Actually, reminds me of a lot of like, because we don't know the extent of his swordsmanship. Obviously, like the way that we saw with the nail, it had a lot to do with the cursed devil, and he pretty much just come out of void space and flick the end of it to be much a hammer on a nail. But in this chapter, Aki does have some level of swordsmanship ability, and with that, I'm very interested to see how he uses the devil in order to advance that. Because I imagine, you know, a character who's a swordsman that can see in the, that's just like in general, because you're gonna know what your opponent's doing, know how to counter or whatnot, as long as swordsmanship abilities. I remember that was like one of the things. What is it? Agame got killed. That the main character looked like he was gonna have that for a little bit. Looked like he was gonna hit future ability after what, like, the first bad guy fought had that power, and he didn't end up using it still. And that would have made him pretty OP. But anyway, Chainsaw Man, I love it so much. It's such a fun hype series. It's so different than like any other shonen, and I especially love, like, I argued with someone not too long ago talking about like they didn't like Chainsaw Man's art. Like, the author isn't the best at drawing people, but man, his environment that he draws, like just like panel layout, but at the same time his monsters are so cool. I love looking at them. They're so strange and so creepy, and I'm a sucker for really cool monsters. So obviously, Chainsaw Man, just like Jujutsu Kaisen, automatic drawn attention of. Look at this thing. It's a stringy haired, eyes and mouth stitched shut head on like a flower, like a. I think those are used for funerals. I don't. Ours are called. A body with all these hands coming out like a goddamn creepy Cthulhu creature as legs, like so spooky. And then the snake devil as well is just. But anyway, tell me in the comment section below what you thought about this chapter. I loved it. I can never not get excited whenever. 34 chapters so far, and I've been hyped for every. The author just surprises me. And I really want to hear what you guys think too, because it's getting a lot of speed picking up, but at the same time, like, it's not huge. I feel like a lot of people just don't like end up like either knowing it exists in Shonen Jump or just don't want to give it a try. It's gonna get crazy when it's anime by because it's gonna be wild as hell. It's gonna be like, hey, Shonen Jump got a new anime, and people are gonna watch it and be like, what the actual fuck? How is this Shonen Jump? But anyway, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thumbs up the video, turn the like button, and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. I appreciate it. And I think